Good morning, welcome to the lovely Burton Waters complex. And I'm here today. I've had a day off work today, and I've got a couple of jobs that I want to do on the boat. Let's just spin the camera around, show you the boat on its berth. There she is. So a couple of jobs that I want to do today. Number one, I need to fill up the water tank, and I need to work out what the air draft is on this boat. So obviously down there is the water line, so I just need to measure up to the highest point, which is that navigation light on the back. So there are a couple of jobs that I need to get done. One or two other little bits and pieces, and then we're going to go out for a cruise. It's quite blowy today. The wind's blowing up, you know, sort of this way, so it's going to make sort of coming back a bit tricky, but a little bit practice. So anyway, let's get cracked on with filling up the water tanks. Thing that I noticed the difference between this and my 535 is steering wise, it's slower to react to, you know, just barely. I'm just doing 3 miles an hour, and you know, when I put in a steering input on my 353, whatever it was, it seemed to react much quicker than this one. This one's a little bit more sluggish. So I have to find it helps with a combination of steering and power with this boat. So I'm kind of not really used to it at the minute. I'm a little bit anxious, if I'm honest. But the only way I'm going to get the feel of the boat is sort of bimble up and down the river, isn't it? And the other thing that I've noticed is it's sort of quite close to this engine, and it sort of makes the engine seems louder for some reason. I don't know whether it's just me or whatever, but it just feels a hell of a lot louder. But, so far so good. I've done some manoeuvres, tried parking it up on a little mooring just when we left Burton Waters, and that went okay. Quite windy today actually, so I'm taking that into account. I think the wind's blowing sort of off my port side. So yep, so far so good. I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know where I'm going. I'm just going to keep cruising until I've had enough, which could be quite some time. So I'll catch up with you shortly. Right, so I just made it to Saxelby, taking about I don't know, an hour, something like that. and moored up. Kettle on the go. Some lunch, bought our own this time. The cafe is too expensive for me, so it's a do-it-yourself lunch. So as I said before, at the minute I'm sort of struggling to, you know, steer the boat with any kind of confidence. I find that using the steering in combination with the short sharp burst sometimes of power tends to help. And like I said earlier on, visibility is really good. In my 535, because of my height, I kind of had the top of the windscreen in my line of sight all the time, which was a right pain. This one's much better because you know, I can actually got windscreen in front of me and nothing as annoying as the top of the windscreen in my line of sight. So you know, it's much better in that regard. But it's a case of just, I guess, just getting used to it, isn't it? It's I think seem to have quite a bit of play in the steering. I don't know whether the steering box is maybe on its way out. I don't know. Maybe I need to get that checked out, because it does seem to have quite a bit of play in it. So for instance, if the steering wheel was at 12 o'clock, you know, you sort of get to there, that kind of play. I mean, if that's normal in a steering wheel, you know, you sort of get to there and then you can feel the steering kind of engage. But yeah, that kind of distance from 12 o'clock is quite a bit of play, so maybe that's normal. I know I had a bit of play in my other little boat, and I know that I struggled steering that when I first got it, but I soon got kind of used to it, and I'm hoping the same will apply here. So maybe there's nothing wrong with it, you know, and it's just me trying to get used to it. You know, the other thing is a you know, a big old boat. It's 1100 kilos, so it's nearly double the weight of my 535. So you know, maybe, you know, I have been told that the engine is perhaps a bit on the small side. Oh, kettle's going, just bear with me. So we'll see how the engine goes. They've got quite a bit of vibration. I don't think from the engine, but I think the engine is sort of vibrating the transom area, which is a little bit annoying. Sort of, I'm not sure exactly where it's coming from, but I think it's probably more than one part of the transom. I'm just not sure. So try to investigate that on the way back. But other than that, it's been a glorious cruise here to Saxelby, and we've just found a little mooring under some shade of some trees. Let me stick my head down and show you here we are. Laddie over there fishing. Yeah, it's just nice. It's under these trees here. Right, so I'm going to have some lunch and head back to Burton Water, so catch you all in a bit. Right, so we've just bimbling our way back to Burton Waters. I've got a narrow boat in front of me doing about 3 mile an hour. Maybe even less than that, because I'm doing 3 mile an hour and I'm having to just ease back a little bit. It's all good fun because it gives me a bit of practice of steering the boat at low revs, which is harder than at high revs. Boat tends to be more zigzagging at low revs. Still not quite used to the play in the steering wheel at the moment, but there's no rush. I have noticed we've got a bit of vibration coming from a couple of areas at the back of me, which I'm going to see if I can do something with. Quite sure what just yet, but clout, sometimes it'll stop, but then it'll start again and sort of does your head in. But going into Burton Waters, I'm going to have the wind right up my backside as I go in towards my berth. So I'm debating whether to reverse in and then go forward into the berth, or just try to go in forward with the wind up my backside and see how that goes. That's probably the harder option, to do it like that. But I might try both ways actually. So I might go in forward and then try reverse. Anyway, I think that was a kingfisher just whizzed by me, which I didn't expect to see today. The trees are obviously height of summer in full bloom. It makes spotting them little birds that much harder, even though they're quite vibrant in colour. There's quite a few more hens, and heron flew straight out in front of the boat a little earlier on, just as we left Saxelby. But I have to say, I'm enjoying having all this space. Makes a world of difference. Anyway, we'll chug on and catch up a little bit later. Just wanted to show you my wiper working. You wouldn't believe the grief I've had trying to sort that out. It's an absolute nightmare. Same one, flew out on us earlier on.